Those stars 11 to 10 on. Denman 9 to 4. 17 to 2 Exotic Dancer looks brilliant. House on Genelade 16. It's 20 bar. They're gathering them up. Exotic Dancer getting very warm. Corto Star just a little warm on his neck now as well. Starter is wandering across to his rostrum. This is it. It's the one you've all been waiting for. It's the Totesport Cheltenham Gold Cup 2008. Denman versus Corto Star. Who will prevail? Who will win this battle of the Titans? You and we will find out in the company of your big race commentator, Richard Hoyles.
Thank you, Nick. Yes, hopefully it will prove one to savour. So much written beforehand and so much discussed about the chances of these two, but of course there are 10 others, each with chances, of course, of playing a hand in proceedings as well by hampering or getting in the way of the big guns. So the field being called out for the Totesport Cheltenham Gold Cup, most anticipated race of the festival, and they're off. 22 fences, and the grey Neptune Collonge leads Denman on the approach towards the first with a fistful of dollars in third place. The early pace is not that strong. Corto Star is in fourth place as they rise at the first. Halcon Genelade took it in fifth. The backmarkers over it were Asalejo and also Celestial Gold. So Neptune Collonge at just this steady pace continues on towards fence number 2. Is over from Denman. Big leap by Corto Star as well. Slightly slow jump back in the field by Fustrion de Payon as they set out with 2 complete circuits in front of them. And Neptune Collonge, the grey, leads by a length and a half from Denman in second. Halcon Genelade has moved through to third in the green, white and red colours, just ahead of Corto Star, who's going up the rail. A fistful of dollars ahead of Iron Man in the white and green. Exotic Dancer, a little closer than he can sometimes be, but keeping an eye on the big 2 in 7th place at this stage with Nowhere. Fustrion de Payon with Contraband, Celestial Gold and Asalejo as they make their way on towards another plain one. Once again, the leaders are over fine. Contraband rather skied it back in the field as we approach the water jump for the first time. It's Neptune Collonge still setting an even pace. From Denman in second place, Corto Star disputing third with Halcon Genelade as they reach the water jump. A fistful of dollars, Nowhere, Iron Man and Exotic Dancer make up the second wave. The outsiders towards the rear, with the exception of Celestial Gold, as they reach fence number 5, which is the first of the ditches, which again they're all over safely. And so far, everyone seems relatively content with their race positions as they're on towards the 6th. Neptune Collonge from Denman. Corto Star over on the inside of Halcon Genelade. Slap down the neck for Iron Man on the outside of a fistful of dollars and Exotic Dancer. Then Nowhere. It could be a little deceptive. They're beginning to get strung out. Nowhere was also clicked along. So Neptune Collonge over the next from Denman. Corto Star, Halcon Genelade. Exotic Dancer didn't get overly high there. And towards the rear of the field, the back 4 getting slightly detached. They don't include Celestial Gold, along with Asalejo, Contraband, and also Fustrion de Payon. Over the next plain one, Neptune Collonge continuing to lead. So again, just watching the stragglers over it. Neptune Collonge will turn downhill. Denman his shadow at this stage, a length and a half away. Then 5 lengths back to Halcon Genelade on the outside of Corto Star. And then a break to a fistful of dollars, who shows next as they take the next fence, at which a fistful of dollars made a mistake. Fistful of dollars hit it quite hard. Nowhere in about 7th or 8th was a little cumbersome as well, as Contraband begins to tail off at the rear of the field. So downhill. Neptune Collonge by a length from Denman, who's been content to sit passively just behind the leader to this point. Halcon Genelade and Corto Star take it fluently from a fistful of dollars. Iron Man, Exotic Dancer in 7th, Nowhere, with about 7 lengths then back to Fustrion du Payon, a couple of lengths to Celestial Gold. There's really been no change in the play throughout the last mile or so. Neptune Collonge for Mick Fitzgerald leads Denman by a length. They've completed a circuit in the Totesport Cheltenham Gold Cup. Corto Star and Halcon Genelade race in 3rd and 4th places. Exotic Dancer disputing 5th with a fistful of dollars, Iron Man and Nowhere as they reach the first in the straight, at which Denman, by virtue of a giant leap for the first time, just comes to put it to Neptune Collonge with a circuit to travel, and the big horse is going to go to the front. Denman comes down towards the fence and the circuit's time will be the last. In front, Corto Star just brushed through the top there in 4th place. So out on their final circuit, and Denman begins to up the stakes and leads by a length and a half from Neptune Collonge. Corto Star is 4 lengths away in 3rd, with Halcon Genelade receiving a reminder in 4th. The pace is increasing. Exotic Dancer races in 5th place from a fistful of dollars, Iron Man and Nowhere, with 10 lengths back to Celestial Gold. Fustrion de Payon, Contraband is tailed off in company with Asalejo. So Denman bidding to find this rhythm, which which has served him so well in the jumping department this season. Comes towards the first on the second circuit, over a couple of lengths clear from Neptune Collonge. Corto Star in third. A fistful of dollars in fourth place. Ruby Walsh just looks behind him to see a fistful of dollars is still quite close as they approach the water jump for the final time. Denman over with an economy of effort. Halcon Genelade ridden along in fifth place as Neptune Collonge continues to stalk the leader. Corto Star is in third, then a fistful of dollars, an exotic dancer as Denman again soars over that, but Corto Star matches his every leap at the moment as the big guns begin to edge towards the front. Denman on towards the next. From in second place, Neptune Collonge. Corto Star about 5 lengths behind the front pair at the moment. A fistful of dollars, an exotic dancer are the next two. All of a sudden, Halcon Genelade is being ridden along. So it's Denman who leads the turn towards the next and open ditch and comes to take it a couple of lengths clear from Neptune Collonge. Corto Star in third place. Exotic Dancer niggled along in fourth place. Then behind these a fistful of dollars. Halcon Genelade and Nowhere as they head towards the fence at the top of the hill. It's Denman trying to run the finish out of his rivals. A length and a half clear from Neptune Collonge. Corto Star in a little bit tight there. Ruby Walsh for the first time is pushing along on Corto Star. Denman's got him at it as they run downhill. So it's Denman who leads from Neptune Collonge. Corto Star in third. Exotic Dancer is in fourth place as Denman is over the next from Neptune Collonge. Again Corto Star rushed his way through the top and Ruby Walsh draws the whip on Corto Star. Denman powering on down the hill, leads by 3 to 4 from Neptune Collonge. Corto Star with a mountain to climb to retain his crown. Denman gallops on towards the next. He's over about 8 clear. Neptune Collonge, Corto Star, Exotic Dancer took it by the roots. They're now on the home turn and Denman is 10 lengths clear from in second, ridden along Neptune Collonge. Corto Star trying to stay on to second but see the crowd slipping from his grasp. It's Denman facing the Cheltenham hill but with a big lead. It's as much as 10 to 12 lengths and Corto Star is struggling to even get past Neptune Collonge. The second last, Denman comes to it 10 lengths clear and he's over. Corto Star's moved through into second, then in third is Neptune Collonge. The whip's drawn on Denman. Corto Star staying on, 8 lengths between the pair at the last. Denman comes to the final fence. He's over from Corto Star in second. He rushes through the top. Denman is a tired horse. He has 200 yards to travel. Corto Star with 8 lengths to find, but Denman and Sam Thomas driven out, relentless, remorseless, has pounded Corto Star into submission. The answer is Denman. Denman won the Gold Cup from Corto Star, who shares a photo for second with Neptune Collonge. Halcon Genelade was fourth, in fifth Exotic Dancer, and Nowhere was sixth.
Denman, the destroyer. He has ripped the heart out of 2 of the best horses the world has seen in recent generations.
4-9, 4-1 the listener, 14s B4 Salmon. Mossbank back to 16s, Luke. Lantartique 25, State of Play 25. This
And last year's winner, the listener and Daryl Jacobs set off to lead the way. State of Play and Denman on the outside. These are being followed by Mossbank and Beaver Salmon, the 2 stable companions, being followed by Lantartique, who just pecked on landing over that one, came down a little bit steeply, but is restrained the back marker of the 6 by Graham Lee. Going now to the first of the regulation fences, right across from the stands. The listener and Denman on the outside. They're in front of Mossbank, who touched down third with State of Play, Beaver Salmon and Lantartique. They face up to fence number 3. Continuing down the back, and Denman on the outside of the listener shows half a length in front. And they're being followed in third place by State of Play. Mossbank is on the outside of Beaver Salmon, and Lantartique is the back marker. Facing up to number 4, and Denman on the outside of the listener. Beaver Salmon, State of Play and Mossbank, followed by Lantartique as they head towards the second of the ditches now, number 5, before they'll swing across to the straight. And Denman now being let stride on by Ruby Walsh has opened up a 3 to 4 length lead over the listener. And they're followed by Beaver Salmon, Mossbank, State of Play, with Lantartique the back marker. Now they make the turn to head across towards number 6. Denman leads via length to the listener, a couple of lengths to Beaver Salmon, followed by State of Play and Mossbank, a couple of lengths to Lantartique. Racing now to the 6th, that'll bring them on the approach to the straight. and Denman bowling along in front of the listener. State of Play and B for Salmon, followed by Mossbank and Lantarctic. They run the elbow now to swing in to face up to number 7, which will be number 17, and of course the final fence after another circuit, as Denman and Ruby Walsh lead into the straight with 2 miles ahead of them, followed by last year's winner, the listener, and Daryl Jacob, and then B for Salmon, who has been a previous winner of this race on occasions, followed by State of Play and Lantarctic, and Mossbank is the back markers. So they come to race on up in front of the stands with the 4 visitors, 1, 2, 3, 4, ahead of Michael Hardigan's 2 stable companions, and it's Denman who leads past the stands by 3 to 4 lengths to the listener. State of Play, they're followed by B for Salmon, Lantarctic on the inside of Mossbank. So they race away from the stands, 10 fences left ahead of them, and very shortly nearing the halfway point. Denman the leader, followed by the listener. Then comes State of Play, B for Salmon, Mossbank, Lantarctic towards the inside. At the fence away from the stands, number 8. Denman leads the listener. State of Play, Mossbank, Lantarctic, B for Salmon. Going now to the second fence away from the stands, number 9. And rising in front will be Denman from the listener. And they're followed by State of Play. Mossbank is on the outside of Lantarctic and B for Salmon. So they've got to run round the bottom bends now to take them up to the 10 furlong point. Next fence they face in the back straight will be 8 fences from the finish, as Denman shows the way to the listener, who's in second place, and third is State of Play, and they're followed by Mossbank, B for Salmon and Lantarctic. Facing up now to the first down the back, Denman, Ruby Walsh, the listener, Daryl Jacob, State of Play, Paul Maloney, Mossbank, Davy Russell, and a good jump by the listener, goes up to just take over. Lantarctic, Graham Lee on the inside, and B for Salmon, Paul Carberry, although the back markers 6 lengths cover them, and the lead exchanging now as Denman takes over again. Coming up towards the mile pole, Denman, the listener, Mossbank on the outside of State of Play, B for Salmon and Lantarctic. Racing now across in front of the stands to the final regulation, 6 left to jump, and Denman leads the listener. Mossbank, State of Play, B for Salmon, Lantarctic. Right across from the stands, second last ditch, Denman from the listener. Mossbank touches down third, then State of Play, Lantarctic, and B for Salmon. So they're heading now towards the final 3/4 of a mile. Denman the leader from the listener. State of Play, Lantarctic joining Mossbank, and they've gone a few lengths in front of B for Salmon. Now they're going to 4 from the finish. Denman leads the listener by just a length and a half. 3 parts of a length then to State of Play, Mossbank, Lantarctic, and B for Salmon. Racing now to the final ditch, 5 furlongs to go, 3 left to jump, and Denman leads. The listener tracks him in third, State of Play, Mossbank right there on the outside, and B for Salmon and Lantarctic still right in contention as the 6 runners covered by 5 lengths. The final ditch, 3 from home. Denman leads by just over 2 lengths. The listener, Mossbank, State of Play, Lantarctic, and B for Salmon. Swinging now with 2 left to jump in the Lexus, and it's Denman and Ruby Walsh from the listener and Daryl Jacob. Mossbank and Davy Russell towards the outside. Now they begin to race for the home turn, and it's Denman from the listener moving up on the outside. In third is Mossbank as they round the home turn. Denman, the listener, and Mossbank as they straighten up for the final fence. It's Denman, Ruby Walsh from Mossbank on the outside. Davy Russell in the centre is the listener and Daryl Jacob, but Denman leads Mossbank and the listener. In fourth is B for Salmon. Final fence in the Lexus chase, and it's Denman over in front of Mossbank. Then comes the listener, and on the run up towards the finish, it's Denman and Ruby Walsh from Mossbank, the listener, and B for Salmon staying on again as they race up towards the finish. It's going to be another big one for Ruby Walsh and Paul Nicholls. What a hand he's got in the Gold Cup. Ruby and Denman win the Lexus, and it's going to be a photograph for second, very close. Mossbank and the listener, and B for Salmon a very, very creditable fourth.
The SP's 4-9 favourite Mossbank scrambling up for second. Ran a big race, didn't he? At 16 to 1.
Hi, I'm Sam Thomas and welcome to Newbury Racecourse. Join me as we relive Denman's 2007 epic win in the Hennessy Gold Cup.
They're away for the Hennessy Cognac Gold Cup with 21 fences in front of them.
Here's the start then of the Hennessy. They approach the first fence. My biggest problem was just keeping the lid on Denman, keeping him relaxed. As we head down to the first.
Way to the left is D'Argent with Denman there, the light green sleeves, the big horse under Sam Thomas.
Wings out over it. Good boy. As we approach now the bend, down to the cross fence. Again, this probably is a bit of a tricky fence. Horses sometimes get in deep, land out on their heads on the other side.
And they're followed by Bible Lord held up as well with Abriganti as they jump the cross fence, skimming over the bird.
That is spot on, lovely. Again, fill them up, fill them up, fill them up.
Colours successful aboard Trabolgan a couple of years ago. The first down the home straight, Sir Rembrandt Dreamerline.
And I remember here, once we jumped the water with a circuit to go, Denman took a hold. And I was pretty much a passenger from here on.
Denman led over the water jump with a circuit left to travel. Denman the outside of Sir Rembrandt.
Well, touchwood, most heads as good as Denman. Denman here was running away with me again. I was up in front. He was taking a hell of a hold. And we approached the last down the back.
Heading towards the last in the back straight. Sam Thomas on Denman. Sir Rembrandt and James White on the near side.
It's your last real chance to get a breather into your horse. They've been on the go for a long time. And as you can see now, they're starting to run on down to it a little bit. This is where they can get off balance. You want to meet this on a good stride if you can.
Coming towards the fifth last fence from Dream Alliance in second place.
That is spot on, lovely.
This is 5 out in the Hennessy. Denman came into it, measured it very well.
We're turning in now to what is the biggest test, the biggest handicap. 11 stone 12 on Denman's back this day. Couldn't quite believe it when I had a little look around here. I saw that the field was nowhere to be seen.
Those are back Denman. They're getting very confident indeed. Dream Alliance is under pressure in second place.
Turning, you can see the crowd, you can hear the crowd. Horse pricking their ears.
Denman comes to it, about 5 lengths clear of Dream Alliance. Character building.
Up and over the third last. And then they'll run down to the second last fence, a hell of a long run in.
Now Sam Thomas gives Denman a wake-up call as he runs towards the final fence. He's got 11 stone 12 on his back in deep ground. A great job by Denman at the last.
We're straight in the Hennessy. You can hear the crowd go berserk.
This could be one of the great performances in the long history of the Hennessy Cognac Gold Cup. Denman under 11-12 delivers in tremendous style.